Yo. Testing. I'm gonna move back further. What did I do? You don't have enough video on your side.
I need to start. So this is gonna be the video.
Well, this is a video.
Oh, a video. Okay. Your language is how your brain, like, improving your language skills improves your brain's ability to process ideas. So, like, if you can learn words that communicate something very succinctly, like if you learn a really intense word that is like a paragraph explanation normally, well, now if you string multiple words like that together in your thought process, you're speeding up the CPU per se.
Who thinks that they're wasting too much time in their own brains to worry about everything else? You've heard of paradigms.
Okay.
You have a paradigm, right?
Paradigm shift.
The whole shebang. What does knowing your specific personality type, how does that change or move your paradigm?
For myself, it was more of a, like, I know that it was a big aha for me because I liked understanding things. Like, I would go to random lectures. I would attend lectures with friends in subjects or in course studies that I wasn't even a part of.
Yeah.
Because just like, oh, this is new, interesting shit. And, like, I would just, take it in.
Right.
But people were always something for me that was like, I could only ever be a chameleon with people. So I could be like, I kind of get where this person's going. I kind of get what's happening in the moment. I don't know why they think the way they do. I don't know why they act the way they do in anything. I can just get a general prediction of what's going on, or I can just I can kind of flow with it. And that's about it. So basically, I'd walk around interacting with people going, I don't know what the hell they're really thinking or how their internal world works. But so people were always a misunderstood variable for me.
Right.
And other people would make assertions and be like, I know how this person thinks. I know how they're going to do this. I know what they're this. And I'm just like, I don't get people. Once I learned this, I was like, whoa, now I actually have a window into the subjective viewpoints of all these other people. So instead of taking the back seat, just going, I don't know how this person's thinking. Now it's like, oh, I kind of know what they're thinking now.
Right.
Like, it's interesting.
Even
so it was a big shift for me.
Even the ideas with putting specific letters, like you say, there's 4 letters everybody gets. There's 16 different combinations. That itself is limiting, though, to me. Like my brain, I'm always a big picture type of guy, and I like to shift, and I like to think individually, and I don't really just accept somebody else's idea as my own. I just like, well, why would they think of it that way, or why did they put it this way? So I've told you before, I go on like my own intuition. Like the letters mean a whole bunch of different things, and to me, I'm just like, this person does that because of this.
Well, and it's also a difference of so there's different aspects there's 2 types of thinking. It's a binary system, so there's 4 letters, but there's 2 points of each letter. So there's 2 T's, 2 F's, then there's the 2 S's, 2 N's. So our thinking and feeling functions are totally different. And I guess this does get a little convoluted, but to bring it into an engineering term, my thinking type and your thinking type for engineering would be very different. My thinking type would be more like, and I think it actually does make sense in how, like, I've made sense of when I do mathematical modeling or anything else like that, I do it with a lot less rule and structure than some other people, in the idea that it's just like, well, I don't have to catalog all of it. I don't have to or if I drive a motorcycle or something, and maybe you would agree with that. I'm not sure.
Well, maybe the same idea with that though is yes, you have these letters and you could go by those guidelines, but they're also changing. Like they're not staying the same.
The people are definitely different. But where I was going to go with it, well, the letters,
like somebody's an ENFJ sometimes, and then maybe you meet them again and you're like, well, maybe they're an ENFP because this happened, because something changed.
It could be. I mean, I would say you're changing, you're taking in new information. So you made an assumption that was wrong before.
Yeah.
And then, because most people, like, within the community or anything like that are more of the opinion that you kind of have one type through. You may get into different phases where you reach into functions that aren't as strong for yourself, but you should, in theory, be the same type throughout your life. So, like, you might meet somebody one day and be like, oh, I think they're in this box. But realize when you meet them in a totally another setting that you judged them totally wrong because you were only seeing one side of who they were.
Right.
You were seeing them in weakness or in strength, or you just were seeing the face that they were putting on that day because they were one of those.
I don't know. I think that it changes. Like, my personality type will change depending on the people that I'm around. I act differently around my brothers and sisters than I do around my friends.
Yep. Well, and given that, so within any of the boxes, I'd say at the very least, so if you've got 16 permutations, within any of those, I'd say everybody easily has two faces. Kind of how do they deal with their internal world and how do they deal with their external world? So how are they going to kind of be when they're more in an extrovert capacity? Like when they're, okay, now I'm socially on. Everybody has a birthday party in their life, so they're going to kind of have to be social during their birthday party.
Yeah. And
I kind of argue that introverts and extroverts only really kind of differ within the same, like, ENTP, INTP. I would argue that they're pretty similar. When it's the INTP's birthday party, I would argue that they could be somewhat similar to an ENTP. Yeah. They're going to act similarly. And also when the ENTP is going to go into some sort of a retreat mode. Okay, well, I'm going to go for a walk, and I need to spend a few days to, process some of the stuff. There's, stuff that's going on, workout, sauna, just like spend some time. Well, then that's interacting with their introverted self. So at least everybody would have those two binary states. Then with myself and yourself, I would argue that we're also very multifaceted. Not that everybody else couldn't be, but just within the theory itself, I think that we would be in the category of extremely multifaceted people.
Right.
Like, I wear a trillion hats.
Yeah. Just in the sense how we interact with other people, or just with our everyday activities?
I wear different hats where I might want to, for days or weeks, be talking to really scientific atheistic people and very dry. And then I'll get into more of a fit where it's just like, you know what? I want to go play volleyball in the snow with emotionally silly people that, the intellectual people that I hang out with will, frown down on.
Right.
Because I feel like being emotional, I feel like interacting with that. Or, I'll wear a different hat to interact with all these different, but it's kind of like, well, I feel like, and I don't think everybody's exactly like that, per se. I think I'm like that in a different way than you would be.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think you and I would also carry a lot of faces.
Yeah.
So, like, how I act, like, there's so many different people groups and predispositions that I will act differently. It's like let's say I've got a deck of cards of 8. I've got 8 different faces. I use this face for too long and I get bored. I haven't used this face in a long time. Right. So I go find the people that I like using that face with. And if all the people groups that I'm around normally is limiting my deck of card use for my faces, that's when, and you know that from all the meetups and different things I've dragged you to, that's when I'm just like, you know what? I need new people. Because then I start out with a fresh deck. Yeah. With new people, I can be whichever card in my hand I
around a little bit.
Exactly.
We just shot 11 minutes of nothing.
Right. Hello, everybody. Hallstrigity here, and I've got my friend James. So my name's actually Brandon, and James is laughing because my YouTube channel's got a goofy name.
What is your name?
Brandon.
Say
Hallstrigity.
Hallstrigity.
I didn't consult anybody for branding. I just kind of did something once.
I feel like you should have.
I should have. I agree. And James is an ENFP.
I'm an ENFP.
So we're cousins by type. We share the dominant extroverted intuition. So we roll around Minneapolis together and just I don't know, go wherever, whenever.
Taking out new, interesting adventures. Yeah.
One day at a time.
One day.
Different meetups, different people, whatever.
Never once scheduling that day ahead of time, which might be a little bit smarter, but.
Well, especially the time we went to the fireworks and we got there so late. We met the people for the group after the fireworks got done.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
But we still met awesome
people.
Just
put us in a group of people.
Exactly.
We're going to have a good time.
And what do you always say about that? Because I'll be like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't decided yet. And then you're like, oh, it's Brennan.
Brennan, every time we hang out, we have a good time. Why are you going to worry about it?
And you probably had to tell me that 5 or 6 times.
I never have to worry about it.
And I'm always like, I don't know. I think I'm going to leave early because I got this other thing I got to go to. And then I always stay. I always have a good time. Mm-hmm. So, but I met James. James is from Sioux Falls.
Yeah, Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
And I had moved to Minneapolis in December. And in March, I met James salsa dancing through a mutual friend that
we were salsa dancing through a group. Myself, I was going with Spanish speakers of a Spanish meetup group in town, and James had met one of the people.
I do not speak Spanish.
Yeah, so it was totally weird circumstances. And then one of the people pulled me aside and was like, right before James came in, they're like, so and so's got a new friend and he's kind of a jerk or he's kind of like whatever, so like watch out for him. So I was like, oh shoot, I gotta be on my guard.
Which we gotta say that, I mean, the way that people perceive other people is always, I mean, one person will see them as one way and another person will see them as a completely different way. Which leads to this interesting story.
And then so then I meet James and I like shake his hand and talk to him for like 10 seconds and I just can't help but laugh because I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. Like it's just like I've got this guy. It was just obvious. It's like this guy's not offensive.
Well, our personality types were lots more similar than this other girl. What was her? She was an introverted type.
Yeah, I think she's an IFJ for sure. As to which ISFJ, INFJ, you'd have to, but she's something like that. And you probably just rubbed her. You probably said something that she thought was serious that she didn't like.
I can be a little forward.
Yeah, you can be forward, but you're so forward you move past it. Like you didn't mean anything by anything. You just like blah, then you move on. And some people dwell, and I can totally roll with that. Did I assault you with personality type that first day?
I think so. Yeah, jumped right into the personality stuff.
Because I want to say I called you out as an ENFP because I had just lost an ENFP. I had met an ENFP back in like January, February, and then they moved out to the East Coast. But I want to say I was pretty sure because I called her out in a crowd I spotted her during the training event for my new job, and I was like, I asked her because I was sure she was an ENFP, and sure enough, so I get a kick out of it.
See, Brandon is such a geek about personality types that he will stand in a crowd of people and go, ENFP, right there! And that's pretty ridiculous.
In her situation, actually, I think there were like 4 or 5 people around her talking, and I kind of talked through them. I asked her about the MBTI and the Enneagram type. I asked her Enneagram type, and when she came back with her Enneagram type, I predicted that she was ENFP. Because I was just like, I'm pretty sure. It's like, oh yeah, it's got to be.
I don't categorize that much, but I will see a personality and I'll be like, I've met that personality at least 3 times in my life, and I can associate them with other people, but I can't automatically say she's an INFJ, because I don't know that. So
well, some of those are the harder types. So ENFPs are just like they're like one of the easiest. They're just like a beacon. They're just like boo, boo, boo. This is what I am.
Pay a little attention to me. Come on, I'm an ENFP.
There's that too. Yeah, definitely. That's how I spotted. Because I mean, she like asked a couple of questions and stuff during that, and I'm just like, I'm going to talk to that person afterwards. She's going to be able to network me. She's going to be able to this, that, the other thing. I'm like, I bet you. Oh, yeah. Boom. Network connections.
Yeah.
Right. It was awesome. But, so we've got cousin types. And so as an ENFP, you'd be like the inspirer, the champion. Like your type is we share the dominant extroverted intuition.
Yeah.
But your type focuses on a different thinking and feeling structure than my type. So we're different in the rest of it, or in the middle of what we do.
Difference between an ENFP and an ENTP. Yeah.
Yes, thank you for So so I'm ENTP. I don't even remember. I think it's like visionary, or we're both screwy personality types, I guess. That's just kind of how we run into the room or whatever.
I mean, we've said this before, but I really love the dynamic of our personality types relating to multiple other different personality types. Because we have a really easy association with other personality types, where we can go to them and we can relate to something else that they're feeling, or there's something else that they're doing easily, where other personality types do not have that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think, I can think of one situation I remember too. I don't know how detail I want to throw that one. I don't know how you roll. You're more smooth with feelings, more smooth with dancing. But I think there was a time, like, sometimes I don't think you actually pick up on the radar of, like, actual feelings, like what emotion somebody's holding as easily. There was like one time I'm like, did you get this emotional vibe? And you're like, what emotional vibe? You're like totally oblivious. I'm like, you just like hung out in close proximity with that person for an extended period of time.
Exactly what you're talking about, yeah.
I'm like, how could you not have? Like I could feel that presence across the room.
I misinterpreted that presence as a different thing. So, I mean, I noticed that it was there. I just didn't associate it with
Okay, so you wrote it off. Okay, so you did notice it.
I said, there's no possible way that is what is coming through on this radar. So I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to be really comfortable with that.
Okay.
Because then I don't even have to think about it, and I'm just going to have fun with the conversation.
Well, when it happened, I just it entered the room, and I'm just like, oh shit, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty funny.
Start off. So what I want to do is we'll start off and I'll put out a topic, and then I'm going to start a timer, and then we're going to talk about that topic for just 5 minutes.
Okay.
Because Brandon gets a bit long-winded, and when he said we could make a 4-hour video, I said, how about we make a few segment of 5-minute videos, and we'll see how that goes. And we can move it into maybe longer videos. So our first topic, why do people study personality types? Like, why is that important to know in the first place? What is the whole purpose behind it? And we'll start. 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think there's two purposes that people take, and I think they can definitely take them right way, wrong way. Well, and there would be a whole lot of them, but I'm going to try to go to two. You can either do it for self-improvement or for understanding others, which can often extend into other improvement, which I would try to say you should stay away from. So I would say you should primarily be focused with understanding self and figuring out, like, okay, what makes me me? How do I work? How do I function? How do I dysfunction? Like, what am I doing? And how do other people work so I can understand other people better? I think those are like the two major. I think once you kind of get off the path from there, you're maybe getting into some trickier areas.
Right. I mean, because people are continually creating and reinventing themselves and like exploring possibilities, and understanding your personality type might lead you into like, okay, this is the sort of stuff I know that I'm gonna like to do, and your personality type might guide you there. So I mean, like originally, the very first guy that ever thought to himself, why, or I'm seeing similarities in these personality types. Why does that thing happen? And I think like the whole sociology factor, and that must have been like philosophers a million friggin' years ago. But why would they come across that way? Why would they say this personality type is this and this? And then I'm like, well, obviously they think because then they can reassociate that with somebody else, and they can just say, I've met this person before, and now I can put these automatic stereotypes with this other person, which isn't really what it's about, but it just sounds like it makes it easier. It creates those connections in your brain. You're like, oh, this person is this way, so this person is also probably kind of that way.
Well, it definitely helps you with that process, because I think we all do that, just in a natural sense. Like, I would get the feeling of, like you said, well, I've met 3 or 4 people like this before, but you didn't have a word for it. You couldn't explain it. You couldn't explain exactly. But at least you'd have a memory. It'd be like, this person is just like that other person I knew 3 years ago. So I could treat them similarly. I can expect the same reactions, but you don't necessarily know why. And what's helpful about a model like this is that you can now start to understand different points of view that maybe you conflicted with in the past and didn't understand. Be like, okay, well, I kind of like this other person. Like, I conflicted with, Bob 10 years ago, and, Joe is kind of like that, and I'm just meeting Joe now, but I don't have to conflict with him. But, like, okay, what was going on there? Oh, well, this is why, okay, they think differently in this manner, and I didn't realize that when I knew Bob. But now I know that about Joe. I know we think differently. Maybe I can preempt myself and not do the things that would have caused problems before.
Right. Okay, so back to your personality growth. Like, the reason that people study is for personal growth.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, which makes a lot of sense, because if I know that I'm an ENFP and that I'm a people-pleasing type and I can get out in crowds, I can pretty much line up a whole bunch of different job types and say, these are the jobs that I'm going to be good at. So these are the type of things that I should strive for or align my certain skill type to.
Exactly.
For that type of personality. So if I'm an ENFP, maybe I'm going to want to be in an outgoing career, something that is not stuck in one facet, something where I'm not sitting at a desk all day, like things like that, because then I need people, like, to survive.
Mm-hmm.
I need that interaction.
Well, definitely. But it's also important to go through the model and say, well, there are aspects of my personality which are the stronger aspects of my personality, and other aspects of my personality which I also like to exhibit and use, which are my weaker aspects. Because some people will get caught up wanting to use their weaker aspects, and that can cause them trouble. Because they've got a desire to use a portion of themselves, but they're not fully understanding why something's not working because they're trying to use something that they have a lower aptitude at.
Right.
So that can also come into play with some of those things. Trying to think of a really, like a really great example of something like that. But I mean, like I'm striking a blank on that one. Like it kind of, I would digress too much. I would try to like throw myself and say my third and fourth functions, extroverted feeling, and I'm gonna do it anyhow. So if I try too much to worry about everybody else's feelings, like if I had actually like taken upon myself to try to like nurture or teach and like it's too much. Like it just wouldn't. I don't have the wherewithal to effectively manage a group's feelings or do that kind of nurturing.
Mm.
It's just like, okay, that's it. Like that'll cause introversion or explosion or something. It's like, this is just too much. I can't.
But relate that to me. I mean, what's the difference there?
Well, so that would.
Oh. All right. Nope. That's our 5 minutes.
Okay.
Next topic. So we're switching on to our next.
Could be feeling thinking there. That's what.
No, Brandon.
Hey, go ahead.
Okay. Our next topic, which kind of relates to this actually, is people pleasers and group dynamic.
Okay.
Like where this falls, which we were talking about as my personality, kind of goes with that facet.
Well, you're an extreme people pleaser in the way that, like, when we're talking about this before, we're thinking about this, is really interesting. You like a group dynamic because you like, and other ENFPs I've known are like that too. Like, you like to like host a party or come to somebody's party that somebody else hosted, and kind of like just make sure all the connectedness is happening, making sure like. Mm-hmm. People pleasing to like everybody, just like making the ambience of everything just kind of like.
Right. And I have a decent sense of personality types without having to put a certain label and saying this person's this way. Example is if I'm in that situation where I'm maybe hosting a party and I have a lot of different personality types all in one room, and somebody else enters the room, and I can immediately associate that person with this group of people. And I'll say, oh, you should come in. You should meet these people. Maybe I'll introduce them to everybody, but then I'll kind of sway them to that side.
And that's what you do, is you take people and things and you move their positions. You positionally arrange parties. That's what you are. You're like a party planner that does arrangements. Because there's other people that...
In everyday life, not just...
But, like, that's what you do. Like, if you go to a party that you're involved with, you're shuffling people and things to reorganize it, constantly reorganizing to make it better. There are other people that host parties out of they're like, it's somebody's birthday party, so they're going to bake you a cake, and they're going to, like, they're more deep into, like, nurturing emotions, and you're not really into that. You're more into, like, just, like, pleasing the whole group instead of focusing on any one individual. Mm-hmm. You're just kind of like, yeah, it's a totally different dynamic. I find that interesting myself because I'll work a crowd too, or I'll work through a crowd of people, but from a totally different perspective. I know, especially if I've known the people, or I have to know what my goal is, or what my, like, I've got goals, priorities, I have to talk to this person because, well, I might, 6 months down the road, I might be looking at doing this, and I might need their help for this. Mm-hmm. Or, because of my relational tie to this person, they're important. I've got a hierarchy built all the way through, and I know, usually in a group dynamic, if there's a disagreement, or if there's conflicting needs, right? I know where my hierarchies lie, where it's just like, this person is at the top of the hierarchy. Yep. These people's needs or wants, I don't care, because this is the person I want to please.
This is what I'm striving for.
When I'm a people pleaser, as a goal, I'm striving to please a specific person for a specific reason, and I'm willing to cut my losses on the rest of it if I have to.
That's interesting. Because we both would walk into a room, and we both would be aware of other people and maybe how they're feeling. Maybe, like, if there's really good vibes or good bad vibes, doesn't matter which they would be. And I would immediately make it my goal to go around the room and first kind of get an idea of the feel of the entire place and then see where I can play my part. And maybe tweaking here and moving this around and interacting with this person, where you would see all these people and you would automatically pick.
I do.
Say, this is where. You wouldn't look at the whole room and say, okay, I got to work it. And then I gotta work.
Well, like your birthday party. I show up to your birthday party, and that's kind of what I do. Is like, well, I should show up to James' birthday party. He's an important friend, and I should show up, make an appearance.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, well, like that's a goal. Like I'm there to make that, and to like, and that's a goal. But now the next goal, and I'm trying to remember all the conversations, but what will happen is I'll hear somebody over there let's talk about something interesting. It's just like, ding, next goal. After whatever conversation I'm doing here, I need to engage that person about that conversation because that's interesting. I'm going over there. Like, and I'm just like, I'm doing pings and I'm measuring. And I'd be sitting there going, I wanted to talk to this person about that. I wanted to talk to this person about that. And I want to talk to this person about that. But that's what I really want to talk about the most. So after this is done, I'm going to that. And if I can get to that, but I'm doing that the whole while. So I've got like cued conversations I want to have with people. It's like, ooh, I heard them talk about that. I need to talk to that person.
Right.
I'm scheming that way the whole while.
Well, we can put it in a different way of thinking about it with the people pleasers. Even when we were talking about making a video, even before this, I'm setting up a stage and I'm saying, well, I don't really just want to sit on a couch. I want to make it look like maybe there's some background, maybe there's some scenery, or what are the viewers going to think, or what are they going to want to listen to? What kind of questions would they want us to ask? That sort of thing. But I even give you a little background story. When my friend used to be a cage fighter, I went to a couple of his fights, and there was an opening one night, and I was thinking, maybe I could get in the ring. And immediately when I thought that, my thought process was, how could I make that fight more interesting for the audience and the viewers? Not worried about my own health in this situation, but how can I make it more entertaining for them? I didn't end up doing it, but it's interesting that my brain works like that.
And
like
when you're talking about that, not only are you a people pleaser, but you weren't talking about meeting the goal of pleasing a certain person. You're talking about this weird mass of persons that are watching it.
Group dynamic, yeah, the whole.
And I'm so different than that. Because for me, if I did that, I would be the goal of beating the other person or the goal of not getting hurt or whatever goal is that way. Or if I wanted to do some sort of audience show up, it would be like, well, these people are here and this guy really, like, their opinion matters to him and he's been really cocky or, like, I've got a reason to show him up. So I'm going to string him along just to make him that much more embarrassed because of the effect with these people.
Right.
Like, I would have a specific reason.
You do it for a purpose intentionally for a specific audience. Where I look at the entire audience, I'm like, well, this is why I want to do it this way. This is like, how can I entertain the most people at one time? You know, it's an interesting dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so different because it's like I'm just a targeted reason based people pleasing, and you're just like massive. I don't know, but you should do like event planning and stuff like that.
That's why when I was thinking about what type of crew would be best for me, I had somebody sit me down and say, James, what would you like to do with your life? And I'm thinking about it, and all these things are coming up like that. Like, automatically, I was like, psychiatrist or a counselor. I mean, that would be more on a one-on-one, but that fits exactly with those personality types. But then it went into, like, event planning and fundraising, and I was working with a nonprofit, and I thought, well, if I was in front of a crowd, you know, I would much rather set up events. All right, we're on 5 minutes. That's interesting. Okay, our next topic is new unknown people types related to moving, related to meeting new people.
Okay. So, I mean, we both moved a decent amount. And so, like, there's a certain group dynamic that's going to happen for either of us when we know the players in the room. We know the people we're catering to. Although maybe this means less to you. It means a lot to me. So what happens, like, how does a group dynamic pleasing change when you're at home in Sioux Falls and then you come and you meet all these new people from scratch? Like, how does that group dynamic change at all for you, or does it?
No, and especially when I moved. Like, I had grown up in Sioux Falls my entire life, and I had this similar friends that I would randomly meet another one here and there, but I would usually be dabbling in the same different audiences, same different people. And when I moved here, I almost just went, okay, now I can change my personality type.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm appealing to a new audience, and I can say to myself, who do I want to be to these people, or what role do I want to play in this group? And it completely changed the way I did things. I mean, you referred to it as, like, cards. Did you say that?
Well, I said, like, I think both of us, being cousins, having the extroverted intuition shared as a dominant trait, I think we both hold a lot of cards for interacting with people, different faces. So, like, let's say you've got 8 cards, 8 different faces, facets of your personality that you can choose to show at different points in time. Often you're only able to use 1 or 2 of those cards with a certain subset of people. because they'll either only accept it or that's all they're ever used to with you. The nice thing about meeting new people is you get to use everything at your disposal. You get to use sides of yourself that you're not comfortable using with other people or just haven't had the chance to use because it wouldn't have worked for the group dynamic or your goals at any point in time.
Yeah.
You get to use the full deck. You can use it however you want, whatever you want, because there is no presupposed basis.
Yeah. And when you meet a new group of people, you can say, well, I want to pull out this card and I want to be this type of person. And then maybe it plays out and maybe it changes a little bit, and it probably does with everybody and every audience.
And the nice thing with new people is if it doesn't work out or if you don't, like whatever, it doesn't matter. Because like it just doesn't matter. It's like, well, switch. Switch. Exactly.
Next personality type.
Whatever.
That was not playing well. Let me go to the bathroom and come back.
Well, you can switch or you can just bail. You can just be like, oh shit, this night turned out bad. Although I don't know when I'm sure I bailed, but like I think I stick a lot of things out because I like to still see the aftermath.
Yeah.
I just won't
Not afraid to play it out, but I mean, you'll put a little mental note and say, well, for next time, maybe I'm not going to do that thing, or maybe I'm not going to go meet those people up again because I didn't have that much fun.
Yeah, exactly. Because I've been a part of a ton of different meetups, and I think I'm trying to remember. I know one meetup where that happened, where I went, I was like, yeah, this is pretty weird. This is quite weird. Mm. But I stuck it out just to see, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going back.
Yeah.
So,
like in an audience of people, like I'm very comfortable with going around and meeting different groups of people, and maybe I'll hang out with them at different settings later on, and I kind of mental note that, okay, this person was this way, so then when I go out with them again, I'm going to play exactly. This role, and I'm going to be this person, but then obviously it's changed for different people, but.
And you know that when you invite people to something too, you know that these people are kind of like this, these people are like that, and it's just like, well, I want to do this, but I can't invite those people because those people wouldn't get along with those people, or those people, this doesn't fit, or you just have to play. I don't think people play with quite as wide a deck as you and I would.
Right.
That way.
Which is, because we can interact with multiple different personality types and not as much, it's not very high stress for us. We can switch roles and we can play this. But I was going to say, too, that, I mean, almost everybody does have these different sides to themselves. Where they will be one way around their family and one way around their friends. But with me and you, it's almost a game. And it is.
That's so good.
We might not notice that we're even playing it, but we like to switch it up, and maybe just because it influences somebody that we're hanging out with in a different way. Or you said sometimes you like to make people a little bit nervous just to see how they will react in a situation. And I don't know that I put that much thought into it, but I do know that the reactions that I'm going to end, the end game that I'm going for. I don't think about the actions that I'm.
You were doing that today. You were making some people nervous, but yeah. So you're going straight to the end game. You knew what your end game was.
Just know like where I wanted, where I'm.
I mean, you
pushing
certainly
it.
didn't push it too far, but I mean, like, no, it was well played.
Yeah, but I don't know where that. I would say confidence comes from to be able to do that, but I feel comfortable with it. Like I'm okay. Well, I'll play this role and. I'll see how fun this can be, and I can just push it because I'm more comfortable with my personality. I'm comfortable with myself to be able to do that. Well, in some situations, some I'm not. But.
And it's funny between me and you because, you would push the issue sometimes with me or whatever, and like I don't think you'd get the surprise, but you weren't surprised that you wouldn't get the surprise. So it's fun when we're by other people because you can really push something.
We can try to push each other back and forth all day.
But I mean, like, you'll push something out that's really off the wall. I'm just like, okay. And the people group, people would be like,
but you can play along with it where other people are a little way thrown off. They're like, what? Why would we do that? No, I'm just kidding. Oh, well, you get that, but they didn't understand that. Whatever. Okay, we've got another topic. Our topic is instant gratification. This idea comes from our society today. Really likes to. If they want something, they want it right away. They don't want to wait for it. Which I want it now. Which I like to call the ADD of society because people are just like, I want this, I want it right now. I want this, I want that right now. And there's no, okay, I mean some people are
absolutely
much more like that, but for the mass, it's a song comes out in a week and it's popular for about a month and a half, and then you'll hear it 6 months later, and it feels like it was 4 years ago. Just because of that concept, because we're just switching so fast. And when we were talking about making this video, that's how that came up. Is I was like, if we make an hour video, And I mean, there may be multiple highlights, but I don't know that people would be interested enough to sit through all that just because, just because their mind's going like, I'm not happy enough. Just like the same thing with watching commercials. If they don't do it for more than 3 minutes because people don't have a span to sit through more than 3 minutes worth of commercials, and I'm sure they did all sorts of studies on that to figure that out.
Oh yeah, and I'm cognizant of that, and like I've always just been lazy because I know like the best way to do it. I've seen really good YouTube videos that way. It's just like keep your stuff short, keep it, even just 2-3 minutes and well edited. But personally, I just get a kick out of really digging into the subject. Like I could chase the same subject down for like 6 hours, bore the hell out of everybody. Which isn't always the best thing to do either.
It's a really good quality though. If you want to have a more in-depth understanding, like you will, because you're going to drill your way to that end game. You're going to say, this is what I want to understand. And you might not even have a specific goal, but you're like, I'm going to go deep into this.
Well, I keep finding something that drags me deeper. And it's definitely, it's intellectual greed. It's just like, well, I need to know. Well, that's why. That's why I'm asking this. That's why, like, I want to understand this. I want to understand that.
But it's not, with you, it's not like any random topic. I mean, it's not like one specific topic. It is any random topic. Something else comes up that you might have some knowledge on, a little bit of basis, and then is that like something that you'll jump into right away? Or
if I find it,
is there a specific?
It has to be involved or interesting enough. Like there has to be substance behind it. I mean, who's going to get what draft and what team's going to win? I don't care.
Yeah.
But instant gratification, which is supposed to be, that's an interesting topic. It's like, let's roll with it. So like instant gratification, that's something that definitely I fall victim to, but I get really bothered by it because it's really easy to just be like, I'm going to be happy by this now. But so I try to guard against it. Like I'm not happy if I go to the restaurant, like if I'm doing stuff that I could have eaten for cheaper and healthier, but I go and eat at a restaurant, after I get the bill, after everything's done, I measure my happiness, and I'm just like, am I $15 happy? No. I'm $15 fatter and $15 poorer. That was dumb. So, like, afterwards, that's my take. So the whole instant gratification thing really bugs me, because then a lot of people will be like, well, you should, you need to live more and this, and it's just like, I don't derive value out of sitting at a restaurant eating expensive food and getting fat.
Well, and that plays into is looking at it from a sociology standard, is like somebody will see something that somebody else is wearing. I mean, clothing, popular stuff, and they're like, I gotta have that. And obviously,
it works really well for marketing and sales.
It does, and the U.S. is well known for being that type of people. Like that, we see something and we're gonna want it right away. And there's Abercrombie and Fitch or whatever popular brand is coming up. And when I worked at a mall, it just drove me crazy when the Ugg boots came out. And every single girl was wearing a pair of Ugg boots.
I'm a much bigger fan of riding boots than Ugg boots.
Which it fed my need to understand personality types.
Okay, there you go.
It fed that need, but hey, I got it. I understand that personality type. Quit throwing it at me. And because I couldn't stand it, and that's the part of working at a mall is me and you are not people that go to a mall.
No.
Just because we like to be weird and try to be original in our own.
There's no originality left. That's what the problem is. Instant gratification is just a sales. It's something that sales exploits all the time to keep people just churning money over and receiving nothing. Whereas the opposite of instant gratification, some form of investment or having a goal 6 months out from now that's actually going to make you really happy and sticking to it. Planning a vacation. They say planning a vacation dollars spent far, far outweigh the happiness that you'll get from shopping. Shopping is negative happiness. You spend $30, you get a few points of happiness. Your amount of negative happiness when you get the bill for that and you pay that at the end of the month outweighs it. They've done study after study on that. Vacation, totally different. Now, when you also take vacation and you plan it out 6 months in advance, man, I'm going to fly into Berlin, I'm going to train over, this is going to happen, I'm going to train into Milan, I don't know, and
making the most of the whole.
You're enjoying the planning the trip, you're anticipating it. We are losing the joy of anticipation, which I like that song too. I don't know who does that, but anticipation. We don't have that anymore. We just have instant gratification. So we get happy, sad, happy, sad, happy, sad. Instead of, oh man, this is going to be great. Yeah, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to do this and it's going to be great. Bang!
Right. Which you can easily relate to relationships. Because in relationships with me and you, I think we're pretty similar. Is we'll meet somebody and we'll get to know them, or we'll say, okay, we're interested in this person, and we'll take them out the first time, and we'll say, okay, is this person gonna be satisfying mentally, whatever, physically to me
In the long run.
in the long run? But we also want that instant gratification to say, okay, I know this person is gonna be, and that kind of guarantee does not come from 1 or 2 days. That's more of a long-term commitment to somebody. The way that I see it. Maybe I'm putting a different spin on it, but it's, we're looking for that. Maybe because we've been conditioned to think that way, is an instant gratification. So I want this out of this relationship, and we're looking for that right away. But we're not finding it because we're not putting the time into it to see it and pull it out.
I think that's fair. It'd be definitely interesting to think about all the aspects of that. But I think a lot of the things that a lot of the hot button issues that people talk about with relationships and dating are instant gratification. Well, how is this going to be? How is that going to be? Like little hot topic points about dating and relationships. They're not thinking about actually the long. I'm sitting there thinking, like, if I just met you and I'm trying to decide or anything like that, I'm like, okay, is this somebody I can bring home by my family, or how would that work? If that's not going to work, am I willing to defend them if this would cause fireworks? Like, I'm thinking about all that stuff. I'm thinking about all that stuff from minute one. And if it's just like, no, this would cause hell on earth.
Right.
And I don't want to put up with this, then it's not going to happen. But if it's like, this would cause hell on earth, to be funny, and I would take this person's side. And it's like, okay, I can go with this. I'm thinking about, I'm anticipating things 6 months, a year in advance, or it's not even consideration. I don't know. Like, for anything that I have any long-term interest in. Now, if you're just looking at, well, I am at a dance event and I want to have a fun dance right now.
Yeah.
Well, you evaluate off of different.
But we might meet somebody and get the wrong vibe initially, and and that's probably true with anybody. You'll meet them, and maybe that we don't know yet, but maybe in the far future, this would be our best option to go with. But we can't tell because we're saying, oh, well, I don't think that I'm into her, so I'm just gonna move on. But I guess that's kind of how everybody works out first assumptions. You meet somebody and you're going to make that assumption.
Well, that's what happens to me if I pass on something for an aesthetic value, or if I pass on something on a quote instant gratification value. If I'm going, this person seems like there could be a fit, or they could be neat, but I'm going to pass because of X, Y, and Z, and X, Y, and Z is a short-term value. I go, am I just passing because of that? Am I just passing because it's really short cropped hair and like I'm just not buying that?
Yeah.
And I really I'll stress about that. Because it'll be like, why specifically am I passing? I like it better when I have a reason of, in 6 months, this would blow up. Then I'm just like, no.
Or maybe this doesn't happen to you, but it's happened to me. You meet somebody and you say, man, this is what I've been looking for. This is my outline. This is, on paper, this is the person that I should be with. And you spend some time with them, and you're like, man, it's just not there. I mean, we both think the same way about each other. Like, man, we would look really good on paper, but then you hang out and that just good connection never happens, or something doesn't happen there.
So something's wrong then with the premises, or something's wrong with the outline that you're creating at that point.
I don't know what it is. But I've had that happen where I meet somebody and I'm like, this is my ideal resume mate. I need this person for their resume, but then I give it a good go and I'm a couple dates in and I'm like, maybe the attraction just isn't there, or something that just isn't lining up that doesn't work. But it doesn't happen to you. I was going to also add another spin to the ADD of society. For our generation compared to generations before, our career spans are getting shorter and shorter with a totally different spin.
Yeah.
Like, we'll change the career 6-7 times before we retire, or more and more.
I'm just hoping to live in the same city for a whole year.
Exactly.
Although I'm not exactly hoping that, because I'm kind of like looking to move again anyhow.
Which everybody isn't our type, but there's definitely a mass in our generation that is doing that, the same exact thing, where 2 generations ago, they would, it's one job until you die, and our generation is like, I'm bored with this job in 5 years. I'm going to go look for another job. And it might be in a completely different field. It's bizarre.
No, and there you lose out, because it's like anything else. There's investment if you take a career path, and that's actually something I'm more guilty in that way. And I don't know, I'm more like, I wish I could just move somewhere, work a job for 2 months, work all these really neat jobs. Like it'd just be like really neat to just like see different people. It was like, okay, I met this group of people in this city and I did this for a couple months and I had this job title and it was cool.
Right.
And then I moved here and I did that. Like, I don't know.
It's similar to our need for learning about personality types. The same thing, kind of. It was different, but so we learned one job and we're like, man, that's going to be a good skill to have in the future. And then we see another job and we're like, oh, I would also like to know how to do that. And you probably wouldn't even care if somebody just said, you know what, I'm going to do that for you, but I'm going to pick the jobs that you do. I'm sure that me and you would both be like, all right, sign me up. Where do I go?
If they could set it up where you're moving different places and it was, I mean, yeah, if they had a decent choice of what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, even if it was a lot of manual labor jobs and stuff like that, if you had that guarantee of being able to move different places.
Being able to move around for years, then
that would actually
guarantee
be
you're
cool.
going to pick up a different skill from the previous skill. Like that would be an interesting dynamic.
Because there's a lot of jobs I wouldn't want to work for 6 months because of the pay level or anything else like that, or a year. Like it just wouldn't. It would be a waste. But for like a really short term basis, just say, hey, I was a fry cook for a month. I don't know. Yeah, it'd be fun.
It'd be fun to learn how to be a fry cook. Yeah. I know a few jobs that I never want to do again that I've done, and that's exactly what you figure out by doing that. I was on the phones for a year and a half with one of the banks, and I had to do collections on student loans, and it was about the worst job, I think, for me. The thing that kept me at the job was all the people that I worked with, and I was like, yeah, I really enjoy all these people, and it's such an easy job, and you get paid really well. But after a year and a half, I was like, this job is literally sucking out my soul. I can't take it anymore. Not even because I thought the work that I was doing was bad, because I'm the kind of guy that'll put an interesting spin on it, and I'll talk to somebody and I'll say, and I'm thinking in my head, how do I work this out to their benefit? How do I make it better for them?
Well, see, that's definitely got to bother you quite a bit in that scenario because you're trying to make it, and there's no two ways around it a lot of times. You're not making it better for them.
Same thing with it. I tried to be a carpenter for a year. First year out of high school, I was like, well, my brother does carpentry, my dad's a construction worker. Maybe this will be something I'm going to be into. I did carpentry for a year, and the people person part of it was not in there. Like, it was all, on a line. Like, you would do this part for this time, and then you would switch and you would do this part, and it was very like I was a robot. And I couldn't do that. But I tried it. I said I'd give it 1 year. It was kind of that same idea. It's like, well, I'll give it a year, and then.
Yeah, factory work is like that, or anything like that.
That's exactly
just like,
what it was.
And like, I don't know. I remember I worked a factory for a couple months and tried to talk to some of those people. The people that had been there a couple of years were just like, whoa.
Right, I didn't turn the timer on.
Yeah, I noticed that.
No.
Oh, okay.
I got another question. Okay, so, and this is more of just a statement per se.
Oh, these are secret. That's right.
These are the secret ones. No, it's just one of them. Talking about role models.
Role models.
Yeah, which especially in our, we could talk about all sorts of different types of role models and what they mean to people. But everybody looks at famous people as role models. So
you don't need famous people as role models.
Well, you always.
So you want? What do you want?
A mass crowd. It doesn't have to be about anything specific, but definitely it's something about role models. Are these people good role models for us? Like talking about more of the famous generation, maybe people that are alive today that we're looking at, but we can talk about any different types of role models. Like, I've always really liked Benjamin Franklin, but that's, years and years and years ago. So,
have you read any Benjamin Franklin?
I've read a lot about Benjamin Franklin.
You should read. I did this winter when I moved here. I read a lot of his stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah. He's got some good stuff out there. I mean to read some Jefferson, but I haven't quite gotten to it yet.
Right.
But I did. Oh, what was it?
I think another one's Abraham Lincoln.
I should read some.
That guy's pretty interesting, just because he went through so much when he was a kid, and he went through they say he went through some severe depression because of things that had happened to him growing up, and he was really poor, and then he comes out to be one of the most famous presidents of all time. It's bizarre, and I just liked it. It was like the underdog type. He was somebody that came in and they might not have expected to do all the things that he did and make as big a change.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a personal role model for me, but like now, would you say that Miley Cyrus is a really good role model compared to that?
Well, I don't compared to that. Well, that's the glamification, instant gratification, the whole oh wow, the degradation of society, culture is, but I mean, like,
coming from the very conservative
I don't have a
types.
problem. I don't have a problem with Miley Ray Cyrus though, because like, I don't know, a couple of her songs, some of the stuff she talks about, I think she's got some cool outlooks on some things. But that, that's that take. But we definitely, I mean, like, the founding fathers, either political party can bark about the founding fathers, but there's no two ways around it. They would laugh, cry, run away at either political party at this point, and just cry and rip their hair out in general.
Right.
But at the same time, maybe it wouldn't be so much of a surprise because it's just as ugly as the world all the while.
Yeah, it's a completely different situation. Like, per se, when they signed the Declaration of Independence, each one of them signed it knowing that they were pretty much signing their own death certificate. Saying, we're going to sign this, and say, I mean, that was going straight to the Queen and saying, hey, screw off, we're not going to listen to your rules. It was, and I think I've read it in a couple different books, a couple different stories. It was just, it's a very inspiring idea if you really think about it. Like, they sign their name off, and especially some of them signed it nice and big so they can read it without glasses and saying, hey, we're not going to listen to your rules. And it's just bizarre because they were like, you can pretty much come over here and get us. Like, that's scary to think about.
No, definitely. But, so what you're really looking at there, though, is, well, what is we can go too many directions with this, especially in 5 minutes. Where do you want to go?
Every direction.
No, we can't go every direction, though.
I don't have a specific.
Okay, well, so heroes. Boy, I just want to get on rants on culture. But heroes.
We can go with culture.
We can go with rants on culture. Well, then that brings me to, like I said,
that's even better.
Before church this morning, so I went to yoga, and then I was in the sauna, and then I went to church. But, when I was in the sauna, there was 2 guys talking about weight loss and stuff like that, and I just started chipping in and talking about things, and then came up Christmas. And, like, this whole culture thing, like, everything is so instant with the instant gratification. Everything is so narrow viewed, celebrities and like it's all nonsense. So heaven forbid people don't go out and rush out now in October to go do all their Christmas shopping, spend oodles of money, more money. Like people are going to spend, $800 per person on Christmas.
Yeah.
And how many and I don't care if you're religious or not, like that's your own personal preference, but of the religious, how many people are going to be putting $800 in the offering plate in the month of December or across the whole year? But for Christmas, like Christmas just burns me up that way because I love winter. I like the holidays and my family. I like Christmas that way. I detest Black Friday, the whole GDP, we have to save GDP. Get your credit card out. Rack up some loans.
I used to work in the mall.
And we need to buy TVs so that we can watch Miley Cyrus, because if we don't have a TV sitting in our living room so we can watch Miley Cyrus, we might read something written by Benjamin Franklin and try to get a little smarter.
Yeah.
Like,
good luck with that point.
So
I don't know how many people are going to buy into it. Which I think if you sat any person that had a brain down and you said, all right, I want you to write 5 things on a piece of paper that will make you better as a person, nobody would have any problem writing anything down, including maybe some of those things. Saying, well, I could probably not watch as much TV or not spend as much money. It's the same thing.
But we need to make the country better by going out and spending that money. So how? Okay, right. So interesting. So you could say, let's write down 5 things that make me better as a person. Why should that list be different when we talk about the country's economic welfare? 5 things. How am I gonna make myself a more fiscally responsible person? How am I gonna make my economic outlook brighter in the future? How am I gonna make the economy better in the future? Well, for myself, I need to get rid of debt and I need to up my equity. So I up my equity by education, certificates sometimes, but that can be a little bit rare. But otherwise, capital assets or things that are going to earn you more money back. Investing in a garden, investing in a bulldozer, investing in whatever it ends up being.
Right.
Something that's going to give you something back. Not getting a TV. But in order to save the economy, we all need to rush out, get a bunch of flat screens and this, that, the other thing, because it's going to send sales to the roof and the economy is going to get all better. Or we can pay down debt, buy capital assets, like. I'm a huge fan of capital assets and equity. Like that's just kind of It's the opposite of instant gratification. It's buying something
It
to
is
make
the complete
tomorrow or next year or the year after better.
Which I think about, and statistics probably show that there's about 2% of the world that thinks like that. Which those are the 2% that are doing much better than all the rest. Just because they're considering those options. They're saying, I invest, I work hard and put money into one thing that is eventually going to come back, but it's not going to be instant. It's going to be it's as simple as a savings account. Like, how many people probably don't have one? It's simple as that. It's just not saving up any money.
I know the
your
paycheck
assets
to paycheck thing is
are
really
not
weird.
even close to your liabilities. Like, you have way more liabilities than you do an asset.
But that's become commonplace. I mean, that's like that's the quintessential. I don't know. Like, you hear it on the radio all the time. Is like, well, blah 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 blah. This thing, credit rating agency. I don't remember what ad they have here on KWB, but KDWB. But it's something about needing to know your credit score because it's really important because your buying power will be increased.
Mm-hmm.
You need to up your buying power. Well, why? Well, yeah, why? You need to increase your buying power so that you can, so that you can buy, like a snowplow so that you can plow out everybody's driveway and make money.
Yeah.
No. You need to up your buying power so you can get 5 TVs now instead of 4.
Yep.
So that you can get, like
The next big thing. Soup up your car a little bit more.
You need to up your buying power so that you can up your debt, so that you can up your stress, so that what?
Right. I think we can tie it back around and kind of sum up all that personality type stuff, and it's just like you work off the scale. What is the name for it?
The Myers-Briggs type indicator.
Myers-Briggs type indicator, the MBTI test, working on 16 different types of personalities, so you can understand what, mainly for like personal growth reasons, understand other people and yourself a little bit better. And that's the basis of everything that we're talking about.
Yeah, there's a few rants mixed in there, but I think that
Now you're reading, I'll play you.
Brandon! James's personality is pretty screwed up. Hey, this book is good.
Oh, is that about me?
No, that was INTJ them. That is a cool looking guitar.
I know.
I am my first instrument. Like, I don't have piano, guitar. My body is my first instrument.
How do you play that?
I play swing music.
Okay.
Rock step, triple step, man.
Rock step, triple step. That's pretty interesting.
It doesn't sound like that guitar looks like that. I know that.
Can you show me how to do a rock step, triple step?
Rock step, triple step, rock step, triple. Rock
step.
step.
And then put a little triple step. Been having troubles trying to sleep.
Rock step, triple step. Yeah, but you got like soul.
Yeah, you just gotta do it like this. Rock step, triple step. I've been counting sheep all running out.
Boom, boom. Like I do a little bit with like the hips, like when I'm like standing there waiting. Like I actually I'm starting to feel it. I am.
Time ticks by. Still I try. No rest for cross tracks in my mind.
Rock step, triple step.
On my own, here we go.
Oh. Rock step, triple step, 1, 2, triple step.
No, I was trying.
I
was trying really hard.
Okay.
Another video because this one is getting to be around an hour long, so we can go.
That's it?
Yeah, just an hour.
Okay.
In 30 seconds.
Well, that's not bad.
That's not too bad.
That's like short.
That is pretty short. But we can wrap this one up, and then we can start another one if you like. Okay.